welcome to Making It with Terry Woolman, the show that explores the secrets, successes, and strategies for making it in the music biz. And now, here's your host, Terry Woolman.
Let's take it nice and easy. It's gonna be so easy for us to fall in love. Hey baby, what's your hurry? Relax, don't you worry. We're gonna fall in love.
Welcome to the show, and thanks for tuning in. I want to say a quick thank you to my guest on last week's episode, Melissa Manchester. If you didn't get to hear it, you can listen to Melissa's interview and all of our episodes, including today's, at entertalkradio.com/makingit. Also, be sure to tune in next week to hear an inside perspective on marketing a top 10 hit with my favorite radio promoter, Jason Goroff. I'd like to take a moment to also thank the companies that help me sound my best when I'm performing live or in the studio recording and producing music. Taylor Guitars, Duesenberg Guitars, Seymour Duncan Pickups, Diodario Strings and Planet Waves, Mesa Boogie Amps, Motu Digital Performer, Fishman Acoustic Amps, IK Multimedia, and Exotic Effects. So often I get asked questions about the creative process. So I created the show to focus on what it takes to have a lasting career in the ever-changing landscape of the music business. You're really in for a treat today as I've invited my friends, some of the best and brightest in music, to share their stories on how they have influenced the music that has shaped our lives. I guarantee you're going to love it. So let's get started. My guests today are Alan and Marilyn Bergman. Two of the world's most distinguished lyricists, Alan and Marilyn Bergman, have been contributing to the Great American Songbook for more than 5 decades. During their celebrated career, Alan and Marilyn's songs have been nominated for 16 Academy Awards, for which they have won 3. The Windmills of Your Mind in 1968, The Way We Were in 1973, and the score for Yentl in 1984. Windmills and The Way We Were also earned Golden Globe Awards, and The Way We Were earned 2 Grammys. The first songwriters to be nominated for 3 Academy Awards for Best Song out of the 5 nominated songs, 1983 brought them nominations for How Do You Keep the Music Playing from Best Friends, It Might Be You from Tootsie, and If We Were in Love from Yes, Giorgio. In 1984, they again received 3 nominations for the score for Yentl, for which they were awarded the Oscar, and 2 for the songs The Way He Makes Me Feel and Papa, Can You Hear Me? In 1995, they wrote the Golden Globe, Academy Award, and Grammy-nominated song Moonlight, performed by Sting in the Sidney Pollack film Sabrina. Among their principal collaborators are Michel Legrand, Dave Grusin, Johnny Mandel, John Williams, Quincy Jones, James Newton Howard, and the late Cy Coleman, Henry Mancini, and Marvin Hamlish. Alan and Marilyn's long list of television credits include the theme songs for Maude, Good Times, Alice, Brooklyn Bridge, and In the Heat of the Night. They have received 4 Emmy Awards for the award-winning drama Sybil, and for the first made-for-TV dramatic musical Queen of the Stardust Ballroom, another for their original song Ordinary Miracles from the HBO special Barbra Streisand, The Concert. They won their 4th Emmy for Outstanding Music and Lyrics for A Ticket to Dream from AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movie Special. Alan and Marilyn are currently working on projects with Michel Legrand and playwright Josh Ravitch. They've just completed 2 songs with composer Dave Grusin, Hurry Home for the film Max Rose, premiering this month, and Just Getting Started for the Vitality After 90 film to be released later this year. Please welcome my guest, Alan and Marilyn Bergman. Hi, guys.
Hi, Terry.
there.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
And
Sound great.
thank you. This is really fun for me. I'm sitting in the home of these wonderful, relatively new friends of mine. We were recently in the studio together producing. I was producing a new song of yours. You know, I was going to talk about that later, but why don't we just start? Tell us about that song.
Well, it was written for a documentary about. It's all about vitality for people over 90.
Yes, and 100.
And 100, yeah.
Some of us are a little younger.
Well, yeah, we let Marilyn in the door. She's not quite qualified as in that age group.
Not yet. But it's a profound movie. It truly is about people's attitude when they get to be that age and their outlook on life and how they're dealing with it. And it's just wonderful, I think.
And the name of the song that you ended up
yes,
writing?
Yes, so we wrote a song called Just Getting Started.
Just Getting Started.
And that has that attitude, you know, that as I remember, if I can quote the end of the lyric, said, you've got my permission to take a bow if every day you wake up and say, I'm just getting started now.
Yeah, that was the most wonderful line. That really tied it up for me when you showed me that lyric. And I had the privilege of producing that song and playing guitar in it, which was really fun for me. And it was arranged by your co-writer, Dave Grusin, who I just love, and I know you do too.
Yeah, he's a fantastic
Wonderful.
composer and human being.
Yeah, and one of the fun things for me, normally when I'm producing, it's not a chore, but it takes an effort to coordinate getting all the musicians to show up.
Of course.
Not in this case. This was really so much simpler than any other session that I've produced, and we brought in the top musicians in the world.
Oh, they were wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
And every single one of them that I called when I said, well, this is a song that Alan and Marilyn wrote with Dave Grusin, and Alan's going to be singing, and they said, when do you need me?
That's nice.
There were no other questions.
That's nice.
That's lovely.
And it was really fun. And
it sounded it, too.
It did.
They were wonderful.
Yeah, there was... I mean, of course, the arrangement was exquisite from Dave's writing, and I love the lyric and the melody and chords. You know, it was, as a musician, it was really fun to play on it. It played itself for all of us, but it was kind of like a reunion. In the studio at Capitol. I mean, there was a lot of love. I feel, I've been very lucky, and I know that you have too. Maybe it's not luck. I think it might be a reflection of who we are as people, but I end up in a lot of sessions where there's a lot of love and support and respect.
And you could hear it.
It comes across.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear it. That's what we're capturing, and that was my goal in producing the song, is that we captured, Alan, you being comfortable around your friends singing this very important point of view about growing older and what that means to you and what it means in the movie. And the other thing is, our director, Danny Gold, had the really brilliant idea that he wanted to film this. So this song is being used in the end credits of the movie, and you're on camera. We're all on camera together, and you were a natural, Alan, on camera. It was, you seem like you were very comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and that studio, holds a lot of memories. That studio is where Frank Sinatra recorded Nice and Easy.
Which you wrote.
Yeah, which we wrote. Yeah.
What year was that?
When we were children.
When you were kids?
That was 1960.
1960.
Yeah.
And were you at that session?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and
he doesn't usually allow, he didn't usually allow writers particularly.
Right. Because he didn't want anybody's opinion or feedback?
I didn't want to be distracted.
Right.
He usually had an audience. There was an audience of people there that not in the, outside in the studio, not in the control room. But we were in the control room, and he called us the kids that night.
He called us the kids.
And ever since then, he would call us the kids. We had dinner with him. We were in our 70s, and he still called us the kids.
You were in your 70s.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Yes, I was.
So, Marilyn, how did you all end up being invited to that session? How did they break tradition on that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
See, I don't remember. His music man, the fellow who handled his music publishing, was a man by the name of Hank Sanicola.
And
I remember him.
Of course.
I met him when I first moved out here.
Yeah.
He's an engineer also.
Oh, I didn't know.
No.
My mistake.
No. And he, Frank was making an album. It was an album in those days of lightly swinging love songs, and they needed a title song for it. So the call went out. I'm sure every songwriter from here to New York and back was writing a song for that. And Frank heard our song, and he said, "That's the one." And then Hank said, I guess it was Hank or one of them said, "Let the kids come in." And so we were there.
And how did you pitch the song in those days? Did you actually do a piano vocal demo, and did you sing?
Yes.
The composer that we were working with, Lou Spence, he knew Sanicola. We didn't know him. And when we finished the song, he played it for Sanicola. We went to see Sanicola and played it for him. And no, we didn't make a demo. We played it for Frank.
And you sang it for Frank?
No,
somebody
Lou
else.
Spence sang it. I didn't sing that.
Who did?
Lou, he sang it. I didn't sing it that day.
So we are coming into our first break, and I'm going to pick it up again with the early years of Alan and Marilyn Bergman, and you're listening to Intertalk Radio, Making It with Terry Wollman. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, Behind the Velvet Rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer. Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Welcome to Making It with Terry Woolman, the show that explores the secrets, successes, and strategies for making it in the music biz. And now, here's your host, Terry Woolman.
Has never shone like a door that keeps revolving in a half-forgotten dream, or the ripples from a pebble someone tosses in a stream, like a clock whose hands are sweeping past the minutes of its face, and the world is like an apple whirling silently in space, like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind. Keys that jingle in your pocket, words that jangle in your head.
That is Windmills of Your Mind, being sung by Alan Bergman. And I'm sitting in the home of Alan and Marilyn Bergman. And we're back for our second section. You both started your lives in a very similar way, being born in the same hospital in Brooklyn. Yeah. But I understand it took a few more years before you actually met. Yes. How did you first meet?
Well, we were writing with the same composer. Marilyn, I was writing with him in the morning, and Marilyn, who likes to sleep late, she was working with him in the afternoon. And one day he decided to have his AM lyric writer meet his PM. And we wrote a song that day, and it was not a very good song, but we loved the process. And that was in 1956. So we've been writing together ever since.
And Marilyn, how quickly did you know that you were going to be moving from songwriting partners to husband and wife, life partners?
Immediately.
I
took one look at him and his blue eyes.
Yeah, sure. And the violins were playing.
It was pretty quickly.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
We started working together almost immediately upon meeting, didn't we?
Yeah, that day.
And that's a very good way to really
get to know somebody. Yeah, I mean, songwriting and collaborating, for people that don't know, is a very intimate process when done right, correctly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it involves trust and respect
and taking chances and
all
being,
of that.
Yeah,
revealing yourself to the person that you're writing with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not being afraid to sound foolish sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Being fearless. Yeah.
And feeling comfortable.
Yeah. And you both felt comfortable very quickly with each other.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
And
we admired the same writers and admired the same music.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, we came from the same roots of music as well.
Right. You had the same musical influences and cultural influences, both growing up in New York.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I know that you both used to go into Broadway shows when you were kids, not necessarily
only
the
second act.
The second act.
Yeah, we sneak in.
You would sneak in to see the second act of Broadway musicals, and I think that's really cool. You know, I grew up in Miami, so I was busy sneaking into the pool at the Fontainebleau Hotel when I was a kid.
Yes.
We didn't have Broadway. So you were very fortunate to have that.
Indeed we were.
Yeah, Marilyn, I know that you were a music major at New York's High School of Music and Art, and then you went on to study psychology and English at New York University.
Right.
And Alan, you studied music and theater arts at University of North Carolina and continued towards a master's degree at UCLA.
Right.
Marilyn, I'm going to start with you. How did studying psychology make you a better songwriter?
I never thought of that there was a connection.
Mm-hmm. Is there?
Well, it kept my brain straight, let's put it that way. I don't know that there was a connection as such. But
it probably influenced you in some way, certainly studying language, English.
That of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And I was and still am a reader.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most important thing. What is it that Richard Brooks, a great director, once told us a story?
Yeah, he ran away from home when he was 16 years old, and he went on the rails, Richard Brooks. And he would go on the freight train, get off, write a story if he could. He was 16 years old. And one day he was at a typical hobo camp. And a hobo came up to him and said, "Come here, kid." He said, the hobo said to him, "What do you do?" And Richard said, "Well, I'm a writer." "Oh, you're a writer. Did you ever read Dostoevsky? Did you ever read Tolstoy?" And this came from, Richard looked at him. He was scruffy beard, old guy. Maybe he was 45 or something, And he said to Richard, "You want to be a writer? Let me give you some advice." He said, "For every word you write, read 1,000.
Wow. I love that.
That's from a hobo.
Yeah.
And I tell that to young writers all the time.
Yeah.
Because you can't be a writer if you're not a reader. You can't.
That makes complete sense. I absolutely believe that. And,
Well, it's familiarity with the language, certainly.
and the contour of a story, the arc of a story.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
One of my favorite songs of the many that you've both written is "It Might Be You," which was sung by Stephen Bishop. And that song is a perfect example of a melody and lyric that fits the artist like an expensive custom-made suit. How do you craft a song that serves the story of the film and fits the artist so well that when they sing it, it sounds like they wrote it themselves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, in this case, we didn't know who the artist would be.
Oh, you didn't?
When we wrote it. Because we write it's for the movie. That's the master. That's who we have to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a song about, somebody who could not commit. Maybe not. It's funny that we've been invited to some weddings where the first song that they want to dance to is "It Might Be You."
It's very funny.
It's very funny.
It's a very problematic relationship.
Right.
Yeah,
That kind of makes me a little uncomfortable hearing that.
Yeah. But Dave had written this wonderful melody.
Dave Grusin.
Dave
Yes,
Grusin.
thank you, Marilyn.
And he scored the whole movie. And he had written this wonderful melody, and the director said, "I want a song that underlines the non-commitment that this character was feeling." So that's how it might be. And then I think it was Dave and Sidney Pollack, the director. They knew Stephen's work better than we did at the time, and they said he's the perfect one because he had, a high voice. Could have been a woman or a man.
Right.
And that's what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. I mean, he did a great job.
It totally worked. I actually, when I first heard it and fell in love with it at first listen, like you fell in love with that one on first sight, I thought it was one of Stephen's songs. I mean, it seemed to fit him so well. So it was a beautiful marriage of composing and story, film story, and then write lyric, write artist. I want to talk about process a little bit, the creative process for both of you. And Alan, when we were in the studio at Capitol working on your new song, you had said to me something that really illuminated to me your creative process, and it was about, I know typically you get a melody first, and you've collaborated with some amazing composers.
Oh,
we're very lucky.
lucky.
Do you remember what you said to me about how you uncover a lyric?
Well,
I do.
We feel that the words are on the tips of those notes.
Yes.
And we have to find them. And, the rhymes are in the melody. That's where they are.
Yeah.
You have to, and so you have to satisfy all that. But the words, and in the case of working in a dramatic context, we have the context with the characters to write for or the situation, And it's important, and luckily the composers that we have worked with are dramatists as well as we are.
Yes.
So the drama is in the melodies too.
I love that you shared that with me, and that you're sharing that with the people that are listening to us today. The words are hanging on the tip of every note.
It's true.
Yeah.
And the object, of course, of a lyric is to sing. You can't. Sometimes you're unable to use what you feel is the word that's most apt.
Yeah.
Because it just is not a singable word, or doesn't fit neatly in its seat of words. So there are masters that have to be served, and as Alan says, if it's a song that's written for a film or for some kind of context that the song has to serve, that comes first, of course.
Mm-hmm. The story.
Us is the chore.
Yeah.
The story. And then there's whoever the performer is.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain songs that have certain words when you're writing that are the ones you wish you could use, and sometimes you can't because it's either an S that turns out to be very hissy.
Right. I understand that. We're going into
notes that you put around them.
We're going to step into a commercial break really quickly, excuse me, and we will be right back and pick up on that with Marilyn and Ellen Bergman on Making It with Terry Wollman. So stick around.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Welcome to Making It with Terry Woolman, the show that explores the secrets, successes, and strategies for making it in the music biz. And now, here's your host, Terry Woolman.
The prize of my possessions. I love that face, it just isn't fair. You must forgive the way that I stare, but never will these eyes behold a sight that could replace that face, that face, that face. I see that face.
By the composer.
We are back, and I'm here sitting with Alan and Marilyn Bergman. And we actually, during the commercial break, we were talking about creative process, the writing process, and the creative process in general. So, Marilyn, why don't you pick it up? What were you just saying?
You just said something about the composer, though.
Yeah, we have had the most wonderful good fortune to work with great composers. Michel Legrand and Dave Grusin and help.
Oh, and Johnny Mandel.
I mean, they're all...
Marvin Hamlish.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Each one has a different method of working, of course, because it's so personal. But it affects...
Cy Coleman, another one. Marvin liked a couple of lines.
From us, yes.
From us. Mm-hmm. Dave likes a line from us.
Mm-hmm. At least a line.
At least a line, yeah. Except if he's writing something like a movie song, then he writes the whole melody.
Right.
Michel, usually, he wrote the melody of Windmills. He was living with us at the time. He came downstairs. He played us 4, 6, 8 melodies, and we chose the melody that ended.
The one that we
all
heard.
Said we're going to sleep on it, and then we woke up, and the three of us said that's the melody.
We chose the same one.
And we didn't change it.
And you chose well.
And we didn't change a dot.
Yes.
And then sometimes, for instance, we were working on another movie. Came down and he played us again about 6 melodies for this one spot, and we said they're all beautiful, but they're not right. None of them are right. And one of us, we never remember whom, said, "What happens if the first line of the song is 'What are you doing the rest of your life?'" And he said, "I like that." And however long it takes to sing that song, that's how long it took him to write the melody.
Okay.
His fingers never left the piano.
He's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Now when he got through, he turned and he said, "You mean something like that?" We said, "Exactly like that. Play it again." And he put his hands up and he said, "I don't know what I played." Luckily, knowing him, I had a tape machine going.
I was just going to ask you, so did you have a cassette tape recorder?
Yeah.
Smart.
For Michel, absolutely,
yes.
One had to do that.
Right.
Yeah, because, it's like...
spills.
Yeah.
And if it's literally catching...
Yes.
What is the phrase?
Magic in a bottle.
Magic in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's... Marvin, as I said, a lot of... Hank Mancini, always wrote the melody. Gave us the melody. The only composer that we worked together in the room was Cy Coleman. The three of us used to be in the same room. We hardly ever did that. Mm-hmm. But we wrote a show about jazz with him. And for the most part, we were together. A lot of times he would write something and then we'd say, go somewhere or whatever. But a lot of it was the three of us together. We give him a line, he'd say, "Oh, you mean something like that?" Mm-hmm. He was very facile and wonderful composer.
What about rewriting for you? In a situation like that, would you sleep on your lyric and then the next day finesse? Yes, and yes. Marilyn, you're shaking your head. Yes.
Oh, yeah. People ask us, when do you know you're finished? We always say when they take it away. Right. Otherwise, we keep.
That's right. How do you know when you finish a song?
Yeah.
When it's finished. And Alan always says, when the producers say, we have to have this song by such and such an hour, you know.
I was very curious. I was actually going to ask you that question, so I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah,
how do you know when your song is done? And that makes sense. And when we were in the studio with your new song, we were discussing, Alan and I, we were discussing whether this word would be better or that word would be better, and you had not come to the studio yet, Marilyn. You know, we were just starting to work on it, on the vocal, and I said, well, do you need to run that by Marilyn if we're going to change and go with this? And Alan, absolutely yes. There was no hesitation. And we ended up, of course, sticking with your first intuition on that. Also creative process-wise, you were saying during the break that your process is pretty similar. And I'm fascinated by creative process as when you first started writing together. And part of that is physical. Paper and pencil.
Exactly.
Marilyn, tell me, what a pencil and piece of paper do for you as opposed to a computer.
Oh, first of all, the paper and the pencil is something you're born with. I mean, it's so natural. It's also nothing is painted in stone. Now, that's a good sentence from a writer. Yeah. Yes. No, it's always erasable, changeable, because of course there are many, many versions.
Yeah.
Of every line that we write, I would say.
But there's also a tactile experience that
yes.
I think a lot of younger writers didn't grow up having that experience. I had a creative writing teacher in high school who made us write every day. It didn't matter whether it was good or bad. She just wanted us to write, to exercise the writing muscle so that when something inspired came through, we were already, the channel was open.
Good teacher.
She was wonderful, Gloria Smith. I'm grateful to her to this day.
That's good muscles.
Yeah. So it still is different for me when I have a pencil in my hand versus typing on a laptop.
We don't use typewriter either.
You don't?
No, we use pencil and paper.
Pencil and paper.
When we go to ink, it's because we've really...
It's time.
And it's really a process of pitching and catching. One is the creator, the other is the editor, and those roles...
Right.
And those roles change within seconds. It's very verbal.
In your collaboration.
Yeah,
yes.
It's very verbal.
Yeah.
And when we finish 4 bars or 8 bars, I sing them because, as Marilyn said before, the primary function of a lyric is to sing on those notes.
Did I say that?
You did earlier.
Oh,
yes.
Good.
In this very interview.
Yes.
Good, it's true.
So, it has to sing, And
it also helps, in our case, to be so intimately related to your collaborator.
Yes.
Because you have to be unafraid to sound foolish or to say something that is off a point, but somehow you have to say, "What? No, that's not right." But and to be able to read somebody's mind at a certain point. I mean, we do, of course, know what each other is thinking.
Yeah,
So
there may be a time where maybe there are 2-3 minutes of quiet, of silence, and then what we start to say, it often is the same.
You'll come up with the same idea that's on each of your pieces of paper.
Yeah, that happens quite often.
Speaking of your partnership, do you ever write individually anymore with other composers, or do you feel that the magic happens in your partnership?
Other composers?
No, individually. Like, do you ever write, Marilyn, without Alan?
No.
It's everything is as a team because that's where you find your magic.
Yes, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
If one of us this happened lately. For instance, I'll get an idea for a song and I'll write 8 bars or something, and then I show it to Marilyn and she fixes it.
Mm-hmm.
She does the what? Polishes. That's better.
Polish.
See, there's the rewrite.
Right.
There you are.
But that's what makes for a really beautiful collaboration, and you've got sort of a home court advantage in that. Again, like you said, you're able to read each other's minds, and you're able to edit each other. Stand outside and
be critical of each other sometimes, even, but rarely.
Well, we've got about 30 seconds before the next break. Tell people where your website is so that they can go find your new music. I know, Alan, you've got a new record out. Is it alanandmarilynbergman.com?
I think so. I don't know.
You know something? We'll find out during this break, and I'll tell you when we come back.
We'll ask one of the girls
That's
in
right.
the next room.
And we can also post it on the website for Enter Talk Radio. So I want to make sure everybody knows where to find that. And we will be back very quickly for our next segment. I'm here with Alan and Marilyn Bergman. And stick around.
I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear. Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs. Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, Behind the Velvet Rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Welcome to Making It with Terry Woolman, the show that explores the secrets, successes, and strategies for making it in the music biz. And now, here's your host, Terry Woolman.
Amazing how serene it is, the shade of evergreen it is, exactly what we mean it is, and knew it would be. When love like ours arrives, we guard it with our lives.
And you're listening to Lyrically, Alan Bergman, a CD of the Bergman songs sung by Alan with the Berlin Radio Orchestra, which, by the way, is available on Verve Records. And the website, for those that want to know more about what the Bergmans not only have done, but what they continue to do, is alanandmarilynbergman.com. And we'll put a link up on the site as well. You know, that leads me to a question. You're credited on your songs as Alan and Marilyn Bergman. How did that conversation go when deciding whose name would go first?
Alphabetically.
Alphabetically? Was that it?
No, I don't know.
Well, I think euphoniously.
Yeah, it's what sounded best.
I thought that might be it because I thought that you might approach it like you would a lyric and let the sound of the words guide you in your decision.
Just felt right.
Yeah.
Alan and Marilyn, rather than Marilyn and Alan.
Right. Wow. So that's what I thought you might say. Alan, I know that that you play tennis.
Yeah, sure does.
Yeah, and you played this morning before the interview.
Yes.
I had told Alan that I'm looking forward to getting a coaching session. But Marilyn, I'll start with you. Actually, what other hobbies or interests do you each have? What do you like to do besides write songs? You mentioned reading.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Cooking.
Cooking is good.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a great
Are you a
cook.
good cook?
Yes, and I enjoy it.
What's your expertise in the kitchen?
Alan, since you're the tester.
Well, I tell you, she cooks everything great, but I tell you, years ago, we had a party around 2 weeks before Christmas. We had a dessert party. People would come, have dessert and drinks, and she made every dessert.
For 250
And the
people.
last one we had was for 250 people. It grew. We had a tent out there.
It's more than a hobby.
And I did a lot of chopping, but she did all the cooking, and fantastic.
Do you remember what the best dessert was?
The best dessert. Well, she made pear pie. That was fabulous. And then one day, she made great cheesecake, better than Lindy's, better than Reuben's cheesecake. And
As I took it out of the oven, can I finish?
Yeah, go, honey.
It's your story.
No, go ahead.
As I took it out of the oven, it slipped out of my hand. This big cheesecake. And it went all over the floor. The floor was very clean. And there was a lot of cheesecake, so one could scrape the part that never touched the floor
That's the
off.
3-second rule, right?
That's right. And I served it, but because it was no longer in cake form, it was in a bowl. And I called it when somebody
Cheese
asked,
pudding
"This
cake.
is so delicious," some friend of ours said. "What is it?" And I said, "Well, it's a cheese pudding."
A cheese pudding.
Very matter of fact, like it was always meant to be that. And it became
The star
a fixture, and it was the star of the evening.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to ask you both, for those that don't know, Marilyn, you were the president and chairman of the board for ASCAP for 15 years. And you were both very active in preserving the history of the American Songbook and of American music. But you're also both very proactive in protecting the rights of creative artists.
Yes.
Marilyn, why is that? Well, not so much why is it so important to you, but how do you balance continuing to be a working songwriter and still be so active in standing up and protecting all of our rights? Copyrights. Tell us about this passion of yours and why it's so important.
Well, I think it started in a period that we entered, not we, but I mean that the business entered.
Yes.
In a kind of frivolous attitude toward copyright, where songs and music generally had lost a kind of protection that it had. And ASCAP, American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, was extremely careful about protecting copyright.
Because of the internet and so forth, it got into terrible, they weren't getting paid.
Well, there's as a composer myself and publisher, I'm very aware of that there's a generation of people that exist right now that don't even remember the purchasing of music. And so therefore they don't consider it intellectual property or property at all.
Property.
Yes. They don't understand that it's of monetary value, and it's how we get compensated for our very disciplined and time-consuming work that we do.
Yeah, they don't, the kids don't realize if you went into a store, for instance, and took a chair
right,
and walked out with it, that's against the law.
That's theft.
That's theft. That's a piece of, that it's not anything. The trouble is, what we're dealing with intellectual property. It's not something you can put in your hand,
right.
But it's the product of someone's mind, and it can't. And they've been stealing it now for about 15 years,
or borrowing it in their mind, but not from our perspective.
Well, it's a career, and if it's not something that you can do and make a living doing, I don't know what happens to all this. It's not just music; it's writing generally.
Right.
It's these things that are not tangible. Yeah. So, of course, as writers in a time of the internet, when it became even easier to, for somebody to take the music literally.
We have 1 minute left. I want to thank you not only for your time, but also for all the work that you do for protecting and advocating for copyright protection and for artists. I want to end with a question. And Marilyn, I'll start with you. At this chapter of your life, with what you know to be true, what would you say to your younger self? What advice would you give young Marilyn?
We indicated it earlier in the conversation today. I think reading is very important. Listening is very important. There are rules about writing, certainly.
Craft,
the craft of writing. Songs are meant to be sung, and therefore sometimes the word which seems most apt may not be the word that is pleasant for a singer to sing.
We are sadly out of time. I'm so sorry.
Say one thing.
Go ahead.
I think it's very important that every young songwriter read 2 books written by Stephen Sondheim.
Great. Thank you, Alan, and thank you, Marilyn Bergman.
You're welcome.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, Behind the Velvet Rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit mozguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs. Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.